Have you ever wished you could make police value practice less about, worksheets and more about genuine hands-on excitement? Well, if you have, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into this brilliant game that turns one of math's most fundamental concepts into a strategic battle on the high seas. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the challenge we're all facing. Then, I'll introduce you to Place Value Battleship and walk you through exactly how to play. After that, we're going to uncover the real magic, how it unlocks these amazing mathematical conversations. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at how you can tweak it for any student in your classroom. Look, every teacher knows this. Mastering place value takes practice, a lot of practice. But let's be honest, repetition can get monotonous really fast for us and for our students. So the real trick is, how do we keep that essential practice fresh, meaningful, and actually engaging? And that really is the central question, isn't it? How do we get our kids to move beyond that silent, individual worksheet grind and get them actively thinking, strategizing, and, most importantly, talking about numbers to build that deep, intuitive number sense? Well, the answer is a game that your students probably already know and love, just with this brilliant mathematical twist. Yep, Police Value Battleship takes the classic game of naval warfare and completely transforms your classroom into a sea of logic and number reasoning. And this quote it absolutely nails it. The real beauty of this game is that the learning feels almost accidental, The kids get so focused on the strategy, on finding and sinking those ships, that they're soaking up place value concepts totally naturally. And for us busy teachers, the practical side of it is a total game changer. It's so low prep, it fits perfectly into your routine, whether you're using it for math centers, for those kids who are always done early, or as a really dynamic way to review before a test. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but is it complicated to set up? Not at all. Let's just walk through the rules right now and you'll see just how simple and effective this really is. Seriously, this is it. This is all it takes. 2 players, 2 game boards, which you can literally just print out, some number cards, and something to write with. That's the whole list. You can be up and running in like 2 minutes. Okay, let's break down how you play. First, each player secretly places their ships, which are just multi-digit numbers, somewhere on their grid. Then you take turns. You call out a number to guess where a ship is. So you might say something like 3,721. Your opponent checks their board. If any part of their number ship is on that spot, they yell hit. If not, it's a miss. You both keep track of all the guesses, and the first person to sink all the enemy ships wins. Simple, strategic, and just packed with math. All right, so playing the game is fun, for sure. But this next part, this is where the deep learning really starts to happen. See, the true power of Place Value Battleship isn't just in the hits and misses. It's in the conversations that happen between those turns. It all comes down to what we call math talk. And it's not just about getting the right answer. It's about students explaining how they're thinking, verbalizing their strategy, and defending their reasoning to their partner. It's basically thinking out loud. And that's the key, isn't it? It's one thing to say, hey, I want my students to talk about math. But what does that actually sound like during a game? Let's look at some real examples. So instead of just a random guess, a student might say, I chose 5,280 because I'm trying to find out if there's a 2 in the hundreds place. That simple sentence forces them to connect the digit to its specific value. It's so powerful. Oh, I love this one. It's such a great example of strategic thinking. The student isn't just guessing anymore. They're using what happened before to make a better guess now. They're developing a real sense of number magnitude, learning to estimate and reason logically. And this is where it all comes together. Because math talk isn't a speech, right? The game pushes students to actually listen to their partner's logic and build on it. A guess isn't just a hit or a miss anymore. It becomes a clue that helps both players think more deeply. Okay, and maybe one of the best things about this game is just how flexible it is. This is not a one-size-fits-all activity. You absolutely can, and you should, adapt it to meet the specific needs of your students. Let's check out a few ways to do just that. The differentiation is pretty much built right in. For your younger students, just stick to 2 or 3-digit numbers. The goal might be as simple as identifying that the 3 in 345 stands for 300. But for your older students, oh yeah, you can totally ramp it up. Extend the board to include decimants, or even numbers way up into the millions to match whatever you're teaching. Now, you know what's really cool? seeing how other teachers have taken this basic idea and just run with it, making it their own. Let's look at a couple of fantastic suggestions from the field. I absolutely love this idea from Sandra. So instead of just guessing a digit, students have to do a little mental math first. It adds this whole other layer of critical thinking, turning a simple guess into a little two-step problem for both players. So smart. And Pat Burton builds on that idea even more. I mean, just imagine the possibilities here. The locations of the ships could be the answers to multiplication problems or simple equations. What a fantastic way to spiral in review of other operations. And the ideas just don't stop. You could use it for fractions or exponents. I heard about a middle school teacher who adapted it for negative numbers on a coordinate plane. You could make your students ask for numbers in word form or an expanded form, or heck, turn it into a whole class activity by creating teams. The potential is practically endless. So, to wrap it all up, what are the big takeaways here? Well, Place Value Battleship really anchors a concept that can feel pretty abstract. It turns dull review into an active, engaging conversation. It builds real number sense and confidence. And maybe most importantly, it's so easy to adapt for every single learner in your classroom. I think this final quote just captures the whole thing perfectly. The goal isn't just to win the game. The real victory is that with every single guess, students are building a stronger, more permanent foundation of number sense. They really are anchoring their understanding. So the only question left is, how are you going to use this idea to launch your own students on a new voyage of discovery? Give it a try and watch them set sail.